Did you see the black nurse who misgendered was he a criminal?
A paedophile, trans paedophile, I believe.
Yeah.
Please fact check it for me post-show, but I'm pretty sure it's a trans paedophile. She accidentally misgendered.
Right.
Which she claims she was racially abused by the man.
Yes.
I don't mess around with my words, as my audience will already know this. I don't believe you can be trans anything.
It was yeah, right. Yeah.
It's a man.
I don't want to keep repeating the word because YouTube will get us, but he was that thing.
And she was racially abused. That's what she claims. And then when she accidentally said the word "Mister," they escorted her out of the hospital basically and said goodbye. I think she might have been Ugandan or Nigerian. I can't remember where she was from, but it's just there are some things that trump race clearly, right? And this is where this crazy ideology leads because there's always tiered systems of what's more unacceptable. It's like you get to a level of, okay, race is bad, but it maybe talking about Islam is worse, but then, maybe the LGBTQ plus whatever it is, issue is even worse. Like when you do that, that's what is the hierarchy? So the fact that she was racially abused wasn't trumped by the fact that the accidental misgendering, as she claims, was clearly far worse. What does that tell you about the bureaucracy of our country, which the bureaucrats run our country, by the way. Liz Truss would have saw her on the show. She's right. There is absolutely a deep state in this country, and it's very obvious. It's exposing itself more and more because it's so emboldened under this government. Mm-hmm. It's so emboldened. The Sentencing Council, again, I'll go back to them. They are paid for by the taxpayer. They are paid for by you and me, and they want to put out guidelines that say, you would be, scrutinized harder under the law. There's less leniency towards you because you're a white man.
It's insane, isn't it?
They are, and when the Justice Secretary wrote to them to say, actually, this is nuts, stop doing it, a Labour Justice Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, they just put the middle finger up to her. They flipped her the bird and went, nah, we're all right. We're going to carry on doing what we want to do. How mad? How mad? When I was telling a bunch of students this from a different country the other week, and their mouths were just dropped on the floor. They said, hang on a second, your highest authority on justice in the country had a middle finger flicked at her, basically, metaphorically speaking, when she said, stop what you're doing, even though she was the Justice Secretary. It is mind-boggling to anyone else in the world to hear that.
Yeah. And they seem to really, those kinds of people, I've said this before on the show, this sort of box tickers, they are the ones who get wrapped up in whether it is the Hitler stuff, whether it is a Stasi thing. Yeah. Those are people we need to be scared of those. In the movies, it's all the Voldemort characters, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think in real life, I mean, obviously Hitler was he was a character, but the people who go along with it, I suppose I'm echoing the banality of evil. Mm. And that's what, I mean, Starmer with his little nasal voice saying, well, actually, President Trump, we do have freedom of speech in the UK. Meanwhile, this woman's, losing her job over that. And the family that I interviewed the other day who had the police turn up at their door for WhatsApp messages about the school. That's free speech. And there are more people getting locked up in the UK than in Russia for free speech issues.
Yes, that's true. I mean, obviously, Russia can be a bit of an unreliable data point, but
that's true as well. So, it's probably more in Russia.
But let's be honest. Because we have a free speech society, it's likely to happen that there are more arrests as a result of wrongthink.
Yeah.
Because we actually have it here, and then therefore there are laws around what you can say. So whilst we have free speech, there is a box around that word that says you can't say all these things around it, or you'll be deemed offensive. I saw a video the other day of a guy. I don't know the exact circumstances, but many people would have seen this video. He was being arrested because he said to someone, "Speak English, mate."
Yes.
Right. What? The officer said to him, "Well, that's a hate crime." Hang on, you're in England, and saying to someone speak English is a hate crime?
Well, he was deaf as well. He said speak clearly.
I think that's what he claims he said, obviously, but the other person's claim he said speak English, whatever. Yeah. But regardless of the matter of fact is that someone said to him, to this officer said, "Oh, speak English," and that was deemed potentially a hate crime.
When I was in Germany, every day some German person got angry at me when I was speaking German for my German not being good enough. Like they were all having a go at me. Same thing at Argentina with Spanish. Same with France.
French are big on that,
and that's part of it. And that's why you have to learn it.
Yes.
The French protect their radio. The songs. It's like 60% of them have to be in French or something like that.
Love that.
Yeah, it might even be more than that.
It's really important because it is the fabric of who you are, the way you speak and how you speak to each other and how you communicate fundamentally dictates the culture. It's what you can spread, it's ideas, it's messages, it's everything. So communication being protected under the law is good if it doesn't proactively stop things. And the fact that we have more people in prison in this country over the riots, which, don't get me wrong, I don't believe anyone should incite violence. I think it's completely wrong. What a lot of those people said was disgusting. Frankly, I don't want anyone to be firebombed in a hotel. Many of those people are genuinely just innocent people who have no ill intent to this country, and we should never applaud that. However, when somebody is put in prison for or arrested, like that WhatsApp group situation with the parents who criticised the school.
Or Lucy Connolly.
Lucy Connolly's another good one.
What was it? She said she said one of those horrific things, but it's like
she did. She took it back.
But I know people who are a bit, they get very emotional. And it doesn't mean, you don't want people to get emotional and go and kill someone.
Yeah.
But sometimes they get emotional and write things they don't really mean.
Yeah.
And she deleted it a few hours later.
Well, the problem we've got is that what happened very quickly with this new government is that they weaponized laws the Tories had wrote over generations. These are Tory laws, let's be clear about this, that the Conservative Party had wrote. And nobody sort of knew, in my opinion, that you couldn't say this stuff out loud. I think a lot of people didn't realise they were committing a crime. And so what should have happened is that they should have had the police knock on their door and go, that is incitement to violence. If you do that again, you're going to go to prison. A warning would have stopped 99.9% of them, in my opinion. A very stern warning. Even just going to the courtroom would have put most of them off. The vast majority of them pled guilty. That shows you they felt they'd done something wrong and they wanted to change it.
Yeah.
Instead, we've got people who have committed, the Pakistani grooming gangs, authorities of cover up after cover up in this country are still out free after knowing that there's been girls raped in our country.